Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Scabbard. I'm Dave Valente. Yeah, what the hell's going on? Apologies for the last couple of games. I've been under the weather and slowly getting back out of it. I'm glad I'm actually slept completely through the Colorado game. Didn't find out that they shat the bed until that next morning. And then did watch the Winnipeg Jets game, and it was a better game. I don't even really want to focus on that game. It was an okay game. Um, I wish the NHL would figure out what the hell goaltender interference is, because you had two instances that were relatively the same. Player hit the goaltender. They weren't in the crease, but the goaltender was in the crease. One was called a good goal and caused the Sabres to have a 2-minute penalty, and then the other one was called a bad goal, waved off. It costs Tyson Kozak his first NHL goal. It's very frustrating. Like, we got the point, and I have said quite a bit throughout the season that the Sabres do need to convert more of their losses into overtime losses and get those loser points out of them, so that you're not dropping both points in a game. But we're now at five games in a row loss. At least two of those have gone to overtime. We've gotten the loser points out of them, and it's allowed us to stay in fifth place in the Atlantic Division. But the Atlantic Division is looking like a division where you're going to have to be. Well, you have to be fourth. Yeah, I don't think the Atlantic Division is going to get to a point where we're going to have both wild card positions. Um, so you're going to have to be fourth and maybe even third to make the playoffs. There's a chance that the Metro Division far outpaces the Atlantic Division, gets both wild card spots. So, the Sabres aren't out of it. We were in a good position as we rolled back from the West Coast. We were on the road. We won 3 straight games. We're 2 games over 500, and now we're a game under 500. Today we can win. We can get back to NHL 500. I think that'll help a lot. But you have the collapse on Tuesday night against Colorado. Then you have the loss against the Winnipeg Jets, which really could have been a victory. But the Sabres just have not looked good in overtime the last couple times out. And yeah, so we're now 5 games in a row lost, and we see yesterday Kevyn Adams addresses the media with a press conference, which for all eh, for all intents and purposes should have been an email. There wasn't anything warming to take from that press conference. Um, we, he blames the fact that the Sabres are the youngest team in the league. Says that Buffalo doesn't have palm trees and New York State has taxes. Look, man, there are a lot of teams that are very competitive right now that are in very high tax places, like that Winnipeg Jets team that just came in here. They don't have a whole lot going for it. I mean, it's Winnipeg. It's the middle of Canada, uh, the stream frozen north. Um, they don't have palm trees there. They've got massive taxes in Canada, but they're competitive. Um, yes, we are the youngest team in the league, but look, Kevin, you're the one who put this team together. Like, how you talk about accountability, show some accountability. Say, yeah, this team is built, this is the team that I built. And we're going to go with it. But he was very dismissive with the reporters, which is never a good look. Yeah, you can be combative with reporters, and when reporters step out of line, uh, yes, it's good to kind of rein them in. I don't mind every once in a while a Tortorella type outburst. This was rather petulant, from what I saw in that press conference, and none of the questions really seemed out of line. Even the Owen Power question, which I get, the Colorado game is not a good look for Owen Power, but I'm not going to lay the team's failures on Owen Power. Um, but there are right things to call out about Owen Power's game. Again, he's the first overall draft pick, but he's also incredibly young. So we can, uh yes, there should be accountability there, but there are other players that are more senior to him that have had worse outings, and we should be holding them accountable as well. Um, let's the palm trees. Look, Phoenix has palm trees. They only have a 2.5% income tax rate. Nobody wanted to go there because they didn't win. And that's the reason why people don't want to go to the Buffalo Sabres is because they have not built a culture that's winning that people want to come to. The Bills have done it. They've built a winning culture, and players want to come to Buffalo to play for the Bills. There's no reason to say that players aren't going to want to come to Buffalo to play for the Sabres. And, are we going to get the top free agent every year? No, no, we're not. But until we start making the playoffs, no really free agent worth their salt unless they want to try and prove something or do what Taylor Hall did and sign here with the hopes of getting traded on at the deadline. We're just not going to see that. But to blame the age of the team that you built as the reason why we're not competitive at this point, uh, begs the question of like, what the fuck are you doing? You built this team, and you can't act like that in a press conference and think that that's acceptable. It's completely frustrating to watch uh, this be an um, acceptable outcome of the first 30% of the season. Like, um, there really, for all the talk of accountability, there really wasn't much accountability in that press conference. So he set the tone at the beginning of the season, saying this is we're in win now mode, and his actions in the offseason. Well, I think he did a great job rebuilding the bottom six. Didn't do enough in the top six, and was relying too much on young players. Even though I think our young players like uh, Zach Benson, if we had 2 more Zach Bensons on this team, we'd be first place in the division. I have no problems with what Zach Benson's doing on the ice. Um, you know, I thought Kozak played a phenomenal game the other night. I'm happy to see where he fits in the whole scheme, although I think he's more of a bottom 6 forward. The jury's still out on Uri Kulich. He has flashes of where you think, "Man, this guy's gonna be, you know, a really good forward and a point producer." He just hasn't produced the points yet. So, um, but there are veteran players, and I'm counting Peyton Krebs among them. And Jack Quinn is kind of in that tweener stage where he's yes still a young player, but been around and long enough that need to produce more, and we're not seeing it. And rightly so. Jack Quinn's being scratched tonight or this afternoon against the Utah Hockey Club. So let's talk about the Utah Hockey Club. I know this is usually a 15-minute show. I've used 9 minutes already just talking about the absolute dumpster fire that press conference in the last week and a half have been. Can be fixed if we start winning. And that starts with Utah. Today they are coming in at 10, 11, and 4, kind of in the same place the Sabres are at. They're one spot below the Sabres in their own division, the Central Division, at sixth place. Clayton Keller leads the team with 22 points, 7 goals, 15 assists on the season. Connor Ingram leads the team in wins, but he is injured with an upper body injury. So Karel Vejmelka leading the team in goals against average with a 2.38. Will be in nets today, and we'll talk about the rosters here in a moment. First meeting of the season for the Sabres and the Utah Hockey Club. Um, Soon to be named something else. I hope. I hope we're not going to soccerfy our hockey teams and just have these weird generic hockey clubs and sporting club and dynamo and things like that. Um, but yeah, not only first meeting, but I think they're treating the Utah Hockey Club as an expansion franchise, even though they took the Arizona Coyotes and just moved them to Salt Lake City en masse. But they're treating this as a new team, and the Arizona Coyotes are suspended pending some kind of financing program for an arena that looks like it's never going to happen. So This is the first meeting of the Sabres versus the Utah Hockey Club, although we can infer from previous seasons with the Arizona Coyotes, generally a pretty tight battle the last few years between these 2 teams. Again, their trajectories are very much aligned in, building through youth and building through draft picks. Um, and Utah was a little more successful this year. Again, this is a place that doesn't have palm trees, and Utah has some taxes. They were able to bring players in because there's some excitement around the franchise. Now, it hasn't translated into any more success than, say, the Sabres were having, but there's a little more buzz around, Utah than there is Buffalo. 3 keys to the game, there's actually 1. Just stop the slides. Get the 2 points. You've got to get the 2 points. If you allow it to go 6 games, this is gonna get even worse. Teams will start passing the Sabres in the standings, and then we'll get into the new year, and we're gonna be looking up at 4 teams just to get into the wild card conversation. 4 or 5 teams, just to get past them to get in the wild card conversation. And it's, kinda like the last few seasons all over again that we're just gonna be battling throughout the back half of the season to make up ground that and most of those games are gonna be on the road. Remember, we're playing a ton of games. We played a ton of games at home already this year. So the back half of the schedule is very road laden, and we're gonna have to try and make up ground on the road. All right, the Utah forwards tonight. This is per NHL.com. Their projected lines, and I'm actually going to bring up the DraftKings because I don't know what the odds are tonight either. But the Utah forwards: Clayton Keller, Barrett Hayton, Nick Schmaltz on the first line, Jack McBain, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther on the second line, Lawson Krause, Nick Bugstag, Matthias Michelli. All 3 lines can really put the points in. Alex Kerfoot, Kevin Stenlund, and Michael Scarconi with the 4th line for the Utah Hockey Club. The D pairs: Mikhail Sergachev, Oli Mata, Ian Cole with Michael Kesserling, Yuso Valimaki with Robert Ortuzzo. So 2 real homegrown defensemen with a lot of free agents supplementing with Sergachev, Mata, and Ian Cole and Portuzzo supplementing that defensive core there. Projected starting goaltender is Karel Vejmelka. Sabres have had okay success against Vejmelka. Um, Glad that we're not seeing Jackson Stauber. He is a rookie goaltender, and the Sabres always sucked against rookie goaltenders. They've always made them look like Vezina winners. So I'm glad we're not seeing him, hopefully, if NHL.com lines are correct. The scratches and injuries for the Utah Hockey Club are as follows. Scratched: Vladislav Kolyachunov, Liam O'Brien. Injured are Maverick Lamoureux, which is a fantastic name, uh, Sean Dursey, John Marino, and Connor Ingram. Sabres forwards per NHL.com as well. Your miles may vary on these forward lines because they kind of hit and miss on accuracy. But Jason Zucker, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck as the first line, Benson, Cousins, Paterka on the second line, McLeod, Kulik, and Krebs on the third line. Interesting, they moved Krebs off to the wing. Beck Ballenstein, Tyson Kozak at center, which is good. I like to see that. And Nicholas Obe Kubel wrapping up the fourth line. Defensive pairs. It's interesting the way they've got it listed with Rasmus Dahlin still out with back spasms, Jacob Bryson with Bowen Byram, Owen Power, Henry Yokiharu, Dennis Gilbert with Connor Clifton. And with Dahlin out the other day, the defensive pairs didn't look that bad. Um, you know, there were some lapses, but I think overall they played a fairly decent game, especially coming off of the Colorado debacle. Starting goaltender projected by NHL.com is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen with James Reimer backing up. The Sabres injuries and scratches. We've actually had some good news in that uh, looks like Jordan Greenway and Matthias Samuelsson are getting close to returning. Greenway and Samuelsson were skating with regular practice jerseys yesterday, but looks like they're still out. I don't think that Darlene is long term with the back spasms, but that the longer it goes, the more concerning that becomes. Um, but yeah, there's going to be some decisions that need to be made. As much as I like Tyson Kozak, I think he'll probably get sent down probably as we see Greenway return, and yeah, if we get Samuelson back, we'll definitely see Gilbert or Bryson come out. Um, but it's always a matter of time with Mattias Samuelson when it comes to his injuries. He's so often injured. All right. Tonight's odds or this afternoon's odds for DraftKings.com. Utah Hockey Club. Buffalo Sabres are a goal and a half favorite, minus 1.5 on the game with an over under of 6. And the Sabres on the money line are a minus 118. On this date, December 7th, 1980, 11 different Sabres recorded multi-point games, including Rick Dudley's second career hat trick. And I heard a lot of talk about Rick Dudley in the last couple days after, or last day after the presser by Kevyn Adams, that we wish we had a more experienced executive, and that Rick Dudley should be the GM here. But yeah, he got a second career hat trick on December 7th, 1980, and a 10-1 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's see. And for the week ahead, the Buffalo Sabres will be seeing their next game is going to be against the Detroit Red Wings on Monday at 7 p.m. Is a home game. The 11th is a home game as well against that's Wednesday the 11th against the New York Rangers. And then they start a road trip, 3 games between Washington, Toronto, and Montreal, starting next Saturday against the Washington Capitals. So anyway, that is the show today. I know I've run over my normal time. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, give us a like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Helps out the algorithms and gets our show in front of more people. And we will talk to you all Monday night at 6 p.m. for the Detroit Red Wings. Let's go Buffalo! Stop the fucking losing streak. And let's see a victory. Have a good one, everybody. We'll talk to you later.